New Hanover County's emergency alert system was activated today. Law enforcement responded, and we are treating this as an actual threat. Employees are safe, and everyone is evacuated from the building.
Do you know what triggered it this morning? You can just look at Kylie.
We don't know what triggered it at this point. There is an investigation going on to understand how that was triggered.
And the whole building was evacuated?
The entire building was evacuated, yes.
And so you guys are handling it, so is everyone back in the building? What's the plan for the rest of the day?
Law enforcement are continuing their investigation right now. At this time, we don't know when employees can return to the building, so the roads around Government Center are closed right now, and the building is closed currently.
And is there any way you can kind of explain that employees were a little confused this morning when it came over the system that it was a drill originally? And can you explain that confusion?
At this time, I can't speak to that. We're still trying to investigate why it was even triggered.
But people did originally think it was a drill, and then it did turn out to be an actual threat?
I think initially folks did assume that it was a drill, but we did treat it as an active threat.
And so what was the first thing that happened when they got the initial alert? Were they ordered to evacuate? What was the process?
Once the announcement was made, then all of the employees evacuated the building. We do training, and they watch videos and understand what to do if an active threat does come to our building, and that's run, hide, and fight. And so the first thing that you do is run, and our employees really did a great job and followed that today.
I know you're still investigating, but how long will it take to kind of do a full sweep of the building?
That I'm not sure. We can bring Jerry Brewer on to talk about how the law enforcement process works, but we anticipate within probably the next hour, law enforcement will be able to finish their sweep of the building.
Talk about what actually happened. When the alert activates, what happens inside that building?
A voice comes over a loudspeaker and tells you to evacuate for an active threat. Lights also come on in the building, and you can also hear it outside. And so it was very apparent to folks that they needed to leave the building.
So they were saying, the alert was saying there was some active threat.
There's an active threat, yes.
The employees that I talked to said that it was over and over was saying, this is a drill, this is a drill, this is a drill.
And we have heard that, and that is likely because that's how the system was originally set up for an exercise. And so that's why this has been treated from the very beginning as a real threat, because we were not positive.
That being said, in the case of if this was an active shooter, you're looking at investigating as an active shooter. But in the case of something even more serious, would you look into kind of changing that system then so it doesn't say that?
I think from this experience we'll learn a lot and be able to make sure that our processes are even better than they are now.
How can this get triggered? What's the protocol to make this all happen?
Employees have the ability to trigger this, as well as certain people throughout the building.
As in, like, pull a fire alarm kind of thing?
It's not that easy. Okay.
All employees or certain employees?
Employees are given training on how they can activate in case a threat is specifically in their office.
And what type of things usually qualify as some kind of threat or alert?
Basically, it's someone that is. I wouldn't want to specifically say, but employees, if they feel that there is a threat to their safety, they can activate this.
How many people work here?
I don't have that number.
Is that activation hard, or that alert hard to do by accident? I mean, you have to, are there several steps to take? Or just to
like, what an employee, do they have to go to a higher person and
there's not a hierarchy to activate it, but it's not easy to do, but it can be done. At this time, we're really trying to understand what that process was and how it could have been triggered.
And you said you may change the process in the future to ensure it's more foolproof?
I think this will just give us a lot of teaching moments to understand how to make this process better for the future.
What do you say to employees and to the public who were very confused about what's going on? There was no information coming out other than just stay away from the area.
I think initially that is the information that we had, and we did not want to alarm anyone or push anything out that was not accurate. So the county, along with Wilmington Police, and our sheriff's office really collaborated to make sure that folks knew at least to stay away from this area until we understood what was going on.
What all have you heard that can be teaching moments? I mean, what as far as your perspective, what can be learned from this? What went right? What went wrong?
At this time, I'm not going to speak to any of that. It's too early to really understand that. I'm sure that we'll have a debrief and discussions among county leadership as well as law enforcement just to understand what went well, what didn't, and how we can improve.
How are the surrounding businesses been affected?
We have notified all of the businesses that surround the county. Unfortunately, there are some that are part of the main government center complex that we haven't allowed cars to enter, but they're still able to conduct business.
What are some of those places that have been kind of roped off?
Well, I think right over here we have some car maintenance and repair shop. Cars can still enter and go into there, but there's just an increased presence of law enforcement, and getting to their office may just be a little bit harder.
And Government Center Drive will be closed until everything wraps up here?
Until the investigation concludes, yes.
Have employees been sent home for the day, or are they just supposed to wait for another?
Right now, employees are actually in air conditioning and just waiting until we know more and we can facilitate a next step for them.
Where are you holding all of them right now?
They're in break time.
And also CFPUA.
Oh, yeah, and the CFPUA office as well. When employees evacuate, they were standing in the sun and we wanted to try to get them out of the sun.
What are all the steps that have to be taken before the building can be reopened?
That is a law enforcement decision, and they do a thorough investigation. So until that happens, I can't answer that.